Hi there, I'm Professor E.
And I'm DJ Shirts.
Welcome to the Robot Program. In this episode, we're going to be talking about something special, and they're called glyphs.
Oh, yes, and I happen to have a few right here.
Very cool. DJ, tell us what glyphs are.
Well, if you ever watch any robot videos, such as from Boston Dynamics, where they got the big dog or the robots picking up boxes, you'll see in the background glyphs. They look like this. These are pictures which are unique that the robot can recognize in different directions that robots and cameras and software will use to be able to tell the robot or tell the software that it's a box or it's a door, or how to identify where the door is based upon the proximity of the glyph.
So we can use these patterns to provide identity information to the robot or even additional information, rather than just taking a picture and recognizing the picture. So for instance, not all doors look the same, but if you always want a robot to open a door, put a glyph on it. Or if you're in a hospital and you want your robots to be able to go to patient rooms, not all patient rooms are going to look the same, so you can put a glyph on the door and it'll know what to do when it gets there. So these glyphs are white and black patterns. And you said they can be seen in any orientation. So if we rotate it, the robot will still know what it is.
Yeah, and they look kind of like QR codes.
Yeah, kind of like QR codes.
Right. So we're going to get you to print off some glyphs of your own, and we'll show you where to do that. So what we're going to do is you're going to load up your web browser and visit easyrobot.com. Choose Learn, then select the Easy Builder Manual from the submenu, and scroll down and look for the camera section and choose Camera Device. And here, this is all the information about how to use a camera. So if you scroll down to right here to the glyph section, you can read about it, and you can also click on this glyph PDF, download it to your computer, and then you can print it on your printer, and then you'll end up with pieces of paper just like this.
So there's 4 different glyphs, and Easy Robots already recognize these glyphs.
Yes, the software is already configured to do that.
Okay.
In this example, we're going to use JD, but you can use any of the Easy Robot robots.
And we're missing somebody, AdventureBot.
Oh, yes, and you can use AdventureBot. So for JD, we turn them on, and we will load up our Easy Robot software, which is Easy Builder. And we'll skip going to the Easy Robot School. Now we're going to connect your computer to the Wi-Fi network of your JD. The Example Projects button. And of course, we're going to load the Bear project for your robot. So if you have JD, load JD Bear. If you have AdventureBot, load AdventureBot Bear. If you have 6, load 6 Bear. And if you have Rolly, load Rolly Bear. So I'm going to load the JD Bear project.
And the Bear project just gives you a nice, clean workspace to start from.
And load your servo profile if you have one for JD. And of course, we are going to connect to JD by
Give him lots of room.
Here we go. Awesome.
Initialization position.
Initialization.
Right.
Now, I always like to start off the episodes by getting JD to stand up. There, hello there, buddy. All right, so we need to add the camera control because that's how the robot is going to be able to recognize.
That's right. Right now, he doesn't see anything.
So we're going to choose Project, Add, Camera, and choose Camera Device. And there it is, and we'll choose the Start button. And Andreas, say hello. Hello, Andreas. So we'll turn him around. There we go. All right, JD. So we have the glyphs here that he's going to recognize. So we're going to choose Tracking, and I'm going to select Glyph from the list. So when I hold up the glyph, you can see in the camera image.
So he already knows it's one of those 4.
He does. And I can go through each one, and you can see, it doesn't matter the orientation, he can see that particular glyph. Okay.
That's pretty cool.
And we'll keep going. There we go. So now, let's have JD speak and say the glyph that he's recognizing.
Okay, so he's going to differentiate between them now.
So I'm going to click on the gear button of the camera control, and then choose Scripts. And I'm going to use a Tracking Start script.
Which means he's going to execute this script when he starts to track something.
And I'm going to use the Blockly editor, Audio, Say EasyB, and I'll choose Text, and I'll use Create Text With. I'm going to take 2 pieces of text and combine them, and that's what this particular command will do. So the first bit of text is going to be some actual text, and it's going to say, I see glyph number. I'll hit space at the end of that, And now I'll go to variables and choose a variable and drag that into here. Now the variable I want is called camera glyph number. And that's going to be the number of the particular glyph that he's recognizing.
So the variable is storing that information as it gets updated. And if you want to learn more about variables, you can check out one of our other episodes.
So when I hold up this in front of JD,
I see glyph number 3.
Oh, that's good.
and
I see glyph number 4.
And you'll see as I hold up the object to be detected, right here on the screen where it's currently it says tracking 1. And as I put this up here, you
I
see
see glyph number 1.
it counts up when it recognizes a number of frames. When I take it away, that will go back down, and he's
So
no longer
he
tracking.
needs to recognize a certain number of frames before he'll execute the code,
Yes.
before he determines that he sees it.
So that will work across all of these robots. Now, if you have 6 or Roll-E or JD, then we can show you actually how to get the robot to point when he sees the object as well. Now, AdventureBot, of course, can't point, but you can get creative and maybe make some sounds. Or
He could spin, he could
can
drive
spin
forward,
around.
whatever you want.
That's right. So we're going to go back into the camera device here and choose scripts. And now in the code where we speak, we're also going to choose movement. And we're going to choose auto position wait. And what that means is the auto position wait is going to execute the command, and it's not going to continue to the next command until this particular action has completed.
So we'll see the whole action.
And the action we're going to choose is called point. And then we're going to choose movement again. And we're not going to choose wait this time. We're just going to choose a regular one. And we're going to select stop. So now we can close this down, choose save, and save. And now when I hold up one of these glyphs in front of the robot,
I see glyph number 2.
and he'll point at it.
Okay, so he speaks, he does auto position point,
Yep.
and then auto position stop.
I see glyph number
That's right. And he waits until auto position point is completed before he goes into the stop position.
So it looks like the full up and down movement.
I see glyph number 2.
There we go. Now we can do something kind of neat. Glyphs, because they can be recognized, also have the ability to do augmented reality.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah. So what we can do here is we can click into the camera gear, and we can go into Augmented Reality tab, and we can add an image for each one of these glyphs.
Okay, so we're going to superimpose the image instead of the glyph.
You got it. So we have a few saved. Let's try them out. So I'll choose select image for glyph number 1, and I have some images here downloaded. So I'm going to choose AdventureBot for image number 1. Image number 2, I'll make it JD. And glyph number 3, I'll make it Roll-E. And number 4, I'll make it 6. I'll push save. Now, when I hold up glyph number 3,
I see glyph number 3.
so what we've done is we've superimposed
Glyph number 3.
the image of Roll-E on top of the glyph.
And it doesn't matter what orientation you put it into, it's always going to superimpose the image on top.
Glyph number 2.
You got it. There was JD.
I see glyph number 3.
And there's
And we could
Roll-E.
change our code too. Right now he says glyph number,
I see glyph number 1.
So
but we
have
could
it
change
speak.
it to have him identify the robot.
Yeah, so let's do that. So let's click on the gear button, and let's go back into our scripts and click on the button. Now we're going to add in some logic code. So we'll choose logic, and we'll say if condition, and we will put this under our if condition, and then we're going to add in to and an else. So we'll have 4 conditions in total. 1, 2, 3, and then
Because
a
we got
4th.
4 different glyphs.
Now we can remove our glyph number and our create text with. We'll move these around here. I'll put this here. Oops, this here. And I'll add in some logic in here, and our glyph number in here, and some math in here. So if it is glyph number 1, then the robot will say, I see, and what was our first robot?
First one's AdventureBot.
I see AdventureBot. And then we can take this piece of code and duplicate it and bring it down into here and make this value 2. And then duplicate say ZB, put that here. And what was the second one?
JD.
Say, I see myself.
Perfect.
And we can duplicate this and bring this down here. And we can make it number 3.
Rolly.
And Rolly. I see Rolly. And of course, we know now that we just need a complete else because there is no reason to check for value number 4. We can put in here, I see, and who's next?
Last but not least, we have 6.
I see 6. Perfect. So now we can save this. Okay, so let's try it out.
Okay.
Here we go. So glyph number 1.
So glyph number 1, what do we think it's going to be?
I see adventure bug.
Good.
He knows.
He
I don't
knows.
remember.
The picture shows.
Number
You'll be
4.
surprised.
I see 6.
Good. Good.
Number 2.
Should be himself.
I see myself.
Nice.
He does.
And last but not least,
I see rolling.
nice.
Excellent. Good work, JD. So of course you can do this with any of the robots. However, pointing you won't be able to do with AdventureBot.
Have to get a little creative.
You do. So have fun with glyphs. You can print them out and put them around your house or the classroom and have the robots explore, and you can find out what they're seeing.
In this episode, we introduced glyphs and how you can use them. Glyphs are unique black and white patterns that robots can recognize regardless of the glyph's orientation. They can be used to provide robots with information such as identity or an action that should be taken when they see the glyph. For example, if you always want your robot to open a door every time it comes up to a door, you can put a glyph on the door to tell the robot to push or pull. Now, not all doors look the same, so we can't use our usual object detection or object recognition, and we can use glyphs instead. Easy Robots already recognize 4 different glyphs, and you can access these glyphs on the website. From the main homepage, go to the Learn section and click on Easy Builder Manual. You're then going to go to the Camera section, Camera Device, and scroll down until you see the section on Glyphs. There you will find a PDF that contains the 4 glyphs that Easy Robots can recognize. You can print these glyphs and hold them up in front of your robot to recognize. In this episode, we showed you some of the things that you can do with these glyphs. As always, we want to start with a freshly charged robot. You can use any Revolution robot that has a camera, but in this episode, we use JD as an example. Load the Easy Builder software and open the Bear project for your robot. The Bear project provides a nice clean workspace with minimal controls on it. This allows you to customize the controls that you need and to keep your workspace as uncluttered as possible. Connect to the robot using the Wi-Fi connection and click the blue Connect button to initialize. You'll need to add the camera device control from the control menu. Click the green Start button to activate. Click the Tracking tab and select the Glyph checkbox to enable glyph recognition. Now if you hold a glyph up in front of the camera, you'll see a blue box around it. The robot recognizes that there's a glyph no matter what orientation you put the glyph in. Try rotating the glyph to see what happens. At the bottom of the camera control, click on the gear icon to access the configuration settings. Select Scripts and you'll see 2 different options for tracking, Tracking Start and Tracking End. Clicking the pencil icon beside Tracking Start will allow you to create a script that will be executed once the robot starts to detect a glyph. From Audio, add Say Easy B. Then from the Text menu, click on the block that says Create Text With. Add a blank text block and type in the desired text, such as I see glyph number. Make sure you leave a space after this sentence, because we're now going to append a variable. The variable we're going to use is called camera glyph number. This variable stores the number of the last detected glyph. So if the robot sees glyph number 1, it's going to store the number 1 in the variable called camera glyph number. We're going to append this variable to the text. I see glyph number 1, 2, whatever the variable says. So your line of code is going to be a string that stores all of this text information, where the first part is the text that you've typed, I see glyph number, space at the end, plus the variable that we've added, and that gets updated as we detect the glyphs. You can also add actions or movements after or before this text to get your robot to do something when it detects a glyph. If you want to learn more about variables and how they store information, check out one of our previous episodes. Save your script and return to the control window. You can now test the script by holding up the glyphs. If you hold up glyph number 1, your robot should detect it and then speak, "I see glyph number 1." The tracking value underneath the camera preview indicates when your robot is tracking something. This value shows the number of frames that have been detected so far, and when the robot reaches a certain threshold, it will execute the script. Glyphs can also be used for augmented reality. Augmented reality is when we take the world around us and we augment it in some way using our digital code or our hardware. In the camera control, click on the gear icon and go to the tab that says Augmented Reality. Now we can superimpose images for the 4 different glyphs. This is useful in case we need our robots to provide information back to someone who is controlling them or seeing what the robot is seeing. Instead of seeing a glyph, we might want the operator or the robot to see a particular image. For each of the glyphs, choose an image that you've saved previously. Save these settings and return to the control window. Now when your robot detects a glyph, it should see the image superimposed over top of the glyph. We can also edit our existing script to speak the name of the image instead of the number of the glyph. Click on the gear icon of the if-do statement and you'll see a couple of different options. We want to drag over 2 else-if statements and 1 else statement. Now we have 4 different decision options: if, else if, and the default else at the end. Anything you want your robot to do after it detects a certain image will be in the do portion of the statements. So that's where we're going to move our code such as say easy B, our actions, our movement, whatever we want the robot to do or say. From the logic menu, add the equals comparison statement. In the first part of this statement, we're going to put the variable camera glyph number. And in the second part of the statement, we're going to put a number. Now this statement reads, if the camera glyph number is equal to 1, for example, then that robot will execute the code underneath. We updated the text in each of the say easy B statements to reflect the image that is superimposed over the glyph number. For example, I see JD, I see Rolly. An easy way to duplicate your code is to right-click and copy the segment. We end up with 4 different decision-making branches. The first one is executed if the glyph number is equal to 1. The second one checks if the glyph number is equal to 2. The third one checks if it's equal to 3. And if none of those are true, while we're detecting a glyph, that means it must be glyph number 4, and the else statement is executed. Save your script and return to the control window. Now you can test to see if your script works. Hold up the different glyphs, and you should see the image superimposed over the glyph, and you should also hear your robot speak and do whatever you programmed it to do in your if-else logic. You can use glyphs to help your robots explore the world around them. Thanks for watching this episode, and we'll see you next time. True or false? Glyphs can be recognized in any orientation. Which variable stores the number of the last recognized glyph? Superimposing an image over a glyph is an application for what type of reality? Find the answers at therobotprogram.com.